Welcome. You are here with Dr. Nilda Perez with Business Foresight, creating strategies towards your extraordinary future. We're on live. Hi guys, here I am with Manny Figueroa.
Yes.
I love this. I tell you, this is gonna be a fun. This is gonna be a fun interview. I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
This is great. Okay, so let's begin.
Happy belated Thanksgiving, first of all.
Hey, it's Black Friday. It's still Thanksgiving.
Black Friday.
Still Thanksgiving. I don't know if you heard this morning. I did. I called it a Thanksgiving sermon on being grateful and being grateful no matter what your circumstances are. In your business, with people, and showing that gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes we're so hard even on ourselves. So having that gratitude just spread.
Mm-hmm.
That was
your theme?
mantra today.
Was
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Because this is how I live my life, Manny. It's how I live my life.
Me too.
Yeah, always being grateful. Even in the worst of circumstances, I always look at what am I learning here? There must be a reason, and how can I make things better?
Right.
And always being grateful, because there's always something, no matter, despite the circumstances, there's always something that you can be grateful for,
I'm gonna.
So,
You know me.
oh,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, you're an important guy and a lot of people calling you. So I'm going to give a little bit, I have to, because I would be remiss if I didn't do this. I'm going to read your bio, because your bio was very fascinating. And it's funny, we've known each other for a while. There were things about you that I learned that I was like, wow, Manny, this is amazing, right? And that's stuff that we don't, some of it is because we're humble. We really don't talk about the things that we do. So let's talk about this.
I've given office. That's it.
Yeah, okay. So we're on live. Okay. So Manny, you're a remarkable entrepreneur. His trajectory has been impressive. As a detail, I'm going to detail the journey of your life. So one of the things is that what I learned from you was that you're innately an entrepreneur. So your first job at 14 years old was with the Youth Employment Training Program.
Yes. Some
Okay.
jobs.
Then you were an assistant supervisor by age 15 in Baskin Robbins.
That's correct.
At age 16, you inherited your uncle's position as a janitor in a meth clinic, that's unheard of at 16 years old.
16 years old. I guess the laws at that time, they really didn't care much, But,
well, we're not going to age you, right?
Yeah.
It's okay. So your work ethics, but to me, that was the catalyst for your work ethics.
Mm-hmm.
So by that point, by the time you were in high school, you had your first business, and that business came from. Can you tell me a little bit about that business?
Well, when I say my own business, I had my own. I used to install alarms because it was something that I learned in electrical
That's a business.
at the high school that I started attending.
Right.
So it was a cool little thing. I mean, I used to get paid to install alarms for people who owned pigeon coops in the roofs, and a lot of these guys were. I grew up with mafiosos in Brooklyn. So I would install alarms. I knew how to install alarms, with the annunciators and stuff like that. And I didn't consider it a business. I just thought it was
something you did.
I did,
and you got paid for it.
I got paid. I got hooked up.
So and that's a business.
Yeah,
That's a business.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you got married at age 20. By 23, you were already a father of two.
Yes.
And then you joined the force.
That's correct.
But even with that, that's a small potatoes, because with that, then you were at age 27, you owned a deli, then you owned a pizzeria, then you owned a beeper business.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll
We'll go through all of this stuff, and then shortly thereafter, you learned the art of buying and selling, and that I think that's what we're going to kind of focus on, that real estate part. But you learned the art of buying and selling, and you started by buying laundromats, buying old equipment, and then flipping it.
And I flipped it. Yes.
You flipped it, and then from that you started buying auctions and cleaning up fences. You started buying lots with your dad.
My father, yeah.
And then that just became this whole real estate business that you own today, and today you're a broker. So, but then even that, that's the one, you have like two businesses. That's the one part, and then you also do consulting. You
I do security consulting. Yes.
And you do security consulting with like Fortune 500 companies,
Yes.
corporate executives, dignitaries, celebrities. Like, all right, so okay, so I'm going to tell you that I have to give you the definition of entrepreneurship.
I was going to ask you.
Yeah, okay.
What that is.
Okay, so it's the willingness to take risk and develop, to organize, manage business ventures in a competitive global marketplace.
Right.
Entrepreneurs are known to be pioneers, they're known to be innovators, they're known to be inventors and leaders. And Manny, that's you. That's you. I know, and from our conversations, I know that that's not how you see yourself. You see it as things that you just do, but you're the quintessential entrepreneur. And to me, that's like, that was fascinating. So, okay, so let's just kind of dive into this. Tell me, okay, you were 16 years old, or 20 years old, it started really young with a business. Let's talk about your first business. Like, how did that even come about?
Which one? When I got older? I mean, I'm not.
We're going to talk about your very first, that alarm. Like, that.
You know what? I used to, as a kid, and I grew up in Lower East Side, then I moved to Brooklyn, Williamsburg, and I got involved with pigeon flying, which is pigeon coops. And the Italians were big on that back there. And these were mafiosos. I mean, these were mafiosos. They had a hobby. Anyway, so I started installing alarms for them. I had my own coop on top of a loft, a factory, which I wish if I had the money, I would have bought. Yeah. I remember they wanted to sell that to me for $40,000 for me and my father. It's worth $3-4 million now.
Really?
Where I have my pigeons, I kid you not.
Really?
In Williamsburg. But I started installing alarms, and I needed food to feed my pigeons. I raised birds, and I raised homers. So I needed to do work, and so I started making extra money. I found a legit way to make money, you know, and I started installing alarms for individuals in their coops and stuff like that. So that was my early start with that business, and then I from there I was always working. I saw my father. I don't know if you want to. I think always seeing my father hustle. I mean, this man as a kid, he had one of those trucks. Even though he worked, he had those trucks that opened, those vendor trucks that opened on the side like a butterfly, coffee trucks. He owned one of those. I would go sometimes on weekends with him. I remember feeling embarrassed as a kid working that. Because, you know, I thought it was tacky, you know.
We always think with our parents, isn't that something right? Because we always think with our parents it was tacky, and then we realized that they were onto something, because my dad was also an entrepreneur. It's the same thing. My dad was the same, he would do. My dad would look at an empty, like he was a contractor, he was into construction. And so what he would do is that he would see these empty lots, and he was like, oh wow, that would be a great spot for, let's just say, this is one of the things he had, was a bakery. So what he did, he would talk to people that would walk by, he would stand there and start talking to people. What do you think about a bakery here? And they were like, oh, that would be great, I can get my coffee late before I go to work or whatever. And before you knew it, he would have that's market research. He had no idea. He didn't call it that. He didn't even know what it was. He just knew he asked the people. And based on what the people would say, agree or not agree, he would just create it. Because there was an empty, burnt out, or an empty lot.
Right. Potential. Always looking at potential.
Isn't that something?
Right.
So go ahead, continue your story.
So after that, I started working. I always started working. My cousin's uncle, and this was an adult job. I started working. I didn't even know what methadone was at that time, and I was working in a methadone clinic.
Okay.
So I worked I was cleaning, but you know what? I cleaned well.
Yeah.
And I always took that pride. Whatever I did, I wanted to show my skills.
Right.
All right. So I did that, and I worked for a bank. We were an agent for Merrill Lynch. Now, before that, I went to a company because I took up in high school also machine shop, how to operate lathes,
Okay.
a machinist. So I remember going into a job. I was probably around 18 years old. I went to work in a shop. I went for a job to work in a shop. They made good money. They were unionized and everything like that. But I went there. I remember borrowing from my brother Alvin a pinstripe suit, gray, because he used to work for Shearson Lehman at that time.
Okay.
He was a programmer.
Okay.
And I borrowed this suit, and I went in there to work in a shop. I remember the guy, Joe Rodzicki, I'll never forget, 18 years old, came out and said, "What the hell do you want to work in a dirty place?" You know, it's noble. Machine, there's nothing wrong with that. But he goes, so he asked me, "Would you want to be an auditor?" And I didn't even know what an auditor was.
Right.
I said, "What's an auditor?" He goes, "Would you want to be an auditor? Would you be willing to learn?"
Right.
I said, "Absolutely." Let me tell you, I was their best auditor.
Really?
Yeah, within months, I learned the internal auditor, what it was. I basically was in charge of, responsible to keeping the accuracy of inventory for this multi-million SNS corrugated paper machinery company. They had plants in Dundalk, Ireland, and Leiston, England, and Jersey. They built these machines that would make boxes,
Right.
cardboard. Anyway, from scrap, so it's manufactured. I did a report all on my own, God as my witness, where I showed how inaccurate, and because I knew how to read prints, engineering things, they had the engineering department. It was a big thing in Williamsburg over there, North 5th Street in Bedford. Needless to say, when I learned all that, there was inventory that was there. They thought it was obsolete, but I learned by the prints. I went to engineering, all this on my own initiative. And I showed them, here they are ordering parts that would be 2 months in the waiting when they had parts there that thought obsolete. All they needed was modification, adding brackets.
Wow.
And let me tell you, I kid you not, I saved them over $500,000. I did a report. Listen, you said you got 0 of these, but you got 8 of these sitting. You got a job that's waiting. It's going to take 3 months to make it. They had to go over that. They actually went over my work to see if it was accurate. Sure enough, I saved them over $500,000.
Wow. And this was like back in the day.
I was 18, and this was over half.
Right. So that was like a lot of money at that time.
The Flom family, it was a Jewish family, Gary Flom, the president, came to my office. I had an office. I was hooked up. And it was nice.
Wow.
But I didn't have college. I mean, obviously, I didn't.
But okay. Look, you know that I'm all for education. Education is very important.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's very important to me. But what I tell people is that there are different forms of learning. You see, just because you don't have a degree doesn't mean you don't read the books, you don't do the research. You did research. They had a problem, and you saw a solution, and that's it. That's really all it is. So you learned how to use what you had. You learn how to expand your gift because you have a gift for this.
I didn't know, yeah.
And you probably didn't see it because probably nobody told you that was a gift. You just were like, oh, I have an idea, and you just did it. And what you thought was this benign, very simple idea turned out to be save them,
over $500,000.
$500,000.
But there was a course. I mean, because back then I didn't know. I CC'd it to certain bosses.
Yeah.
And it raised hell in the company.
Really?
I didn't know the repercussions. I didn't know. All I saw was letters CC to the internal order, which is me.
Right.
They never had their inventory such accurate. I bust my hump there.
Okay.
But heads rolled.
Okay.
As a result of that. You got this little Spanish redhead kid, from the ghetto,
Right.
who comes in, does a report and shows, and really, I mean, they demoted like 2 people, and I felt bad. One person was fired as a result of it. I had no idea.
Oh. Okay.
But accountability, what was the thing? And I said, really, this was, and it took me like 2 months to create this report. They didn't know I was doing it, and I finally finished it. I went over and sure, heads rolled as a result. I never meant for that.
Right.
But are you kidding me? Over $500,000 back then. This was in the late 70s, or
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
late
Well,
70s.
that was a lot of money.
And
yeah,
so,
that was a lot of money.
but needless to say, then from
There's a
there,
lot of money now, but that was a whole lot of money then. So, see, okay, I'm going to tell you, the Bible says that your gift will make room for you. So here you have, at a very young age, at a very young age, at a very young age, you start, learning all of these things that bring you to opening that deli. You were confident. At 27 years old, I'm going to be honest with you, and I was, I had an education, but at 27 years old, I didn't have the guts to say, well, I'm going to start my own anything. Like I was, that's the other thing with education, it really does pigeonhole you, because what happens is that you learn how to work with somebody else. You learn well, but you learn how to work with someone else. And so that's all I knew, and I wanted a great job, and I had great jobs. But I would have never imagined, never in a million years would I have imagined doing it for myself or starting my own. But you did that.
Well, I'm going to tell you why. I mean, after there, I was working for, I worked for the Bank of New York, which was the agent for Merrill Lynch.
Right.
I was in charge of maybe over half $500 million, over $500 million worth of accounts that I reconciled. Every day I would spend 10 hours. I did accounting, and I liked accounting, believe it or not. Yeah. Anyway, I did that. I got married. I got married 19, going on 20.
Oh my goodness, what a baby.
So I knew I had to make changes. So I got on the force. At 23, I retired now at 43. I had a good career, thank God. And within that, by 27, I would buy, and this is how I wanted to do business. Great benefits, city, it wasn't for me all the time. At 27, I think it was, I opened up a deli. And why? Because I used to buy sandwiches at a deli. Okay. It's called Farmer of the Deli. It's still there, Myrtle Avenue.
Really?
Still there. We made that place, the offices. And Farmer of the Deli. I used to say, why these lines? It was a typical grocery store.
Yeah, nothing fancy.
Owned by foreigners.
Okay, and foreigners you mean?
And from the Middle East, you know, which was great. But it was just but their sandwiches were slamming. And I used to see lines. Oh my God, why? So I said, I want the same thing. I'm going to open up something like this. Okay. Sure enough, I opened one up in Williamsburg. Okay. I went as far as to find out where they got their bread. And obviously it was Boar's Head. And the Italian bread. The Italian
was Boar's Head?
It was Boar's Head. All Boar's Head products. It was good stuff.
Okay.
But they used to fill that meat up, man. So you got a sandwich. It was they hooked you up, and there were lines.
Okay.
So I opened up a deli like that in Brooklyn, Williamsburg again. I mean, it wasn't like that. I had no idea about businesses, to be honest.
You just knew you liked that.
I threw myself in there.
Yeah.
I opened up the deli. I had specials. I was next to a junior high school. It was nice. I saw teachers that I knew because I grew up in Williamsburg after I moved from the Manhattan. I went to Williamsburg. And so it was nice to see teachers that knew me when they were younger, you know, so it was pretty good. I mean, at work, they used to call me the bagel man, or I used to bring in sandwiches to work and stuff like that, and so I had the deli. And then what I did was I sold that, and sometimes it didn't work as well as I'd like to, but I sold it.
Okay, and I talked about that this morning, that failures are not really failures, it's just things that you learn from your failures, more than you learn.
I don't even think they're failures. You know what I've learned?
Okay, but all right.
You know what? To fail, you know what? Not trying is failure.
It's failure, absolutely.
Because
absolutely, yes.
I mean, how else will you learn? I mean, a kid gets up. If he thought like we did and said, I'm not getting up because I know I'm going to fall, then he would never get up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you try, but you try to use wisdom and try to, you know.
Right.
You don't,
And you learn from those mistakes. Like, I wouldn't do that again. I would do this. And so you keep improving.
Mm-hmm. It took me a while to learn. I learned the business. I'll be honest, I don't want to do food business again. It's not, you got to be there. I mean, but there's a good markup. If you know how to run it, it's something that I wouldn't want to do. But if you like food, do it.
Yeah.
I opened up a pizzeria. I mean, you want to just keep
going? Go ahead.
Because I sold that. I told him my father had a flower shop. I went as far as to learn how to do the pizza. I had somebody in Canarsie teach me. I paid him to teach me how to do the pizza, the sauce, and all that stuff. And I was just trying different things. I did the pizzeria. I ended up getting rid of it, selling it to a Chinese Asian man. And what happened was that when he was going to do the deli, actually I sold the deli when I sold the deli to an Asian man.
Okay.
He built he wanted to do a deli and Chinese.
Ooh, okay.
Right. But needless to say, that didn't work out. He wanted to keep me as a partner because so many people knew me.
Right.
And while I was at my deli, here's another story. First time I was introduced to real estate was because they knocked down a building on Rowan Street, and they built storefronts with some apartments, 2-bedroom apartments up on top, really nice.
Okay.
The owner, he was a Russian guy, Sally was his name. He came over and he would come to my deli, and he asked me because I knew so many people, and this is in my 20s and my late 30s.
See it?
You're back on.
Okay, so we're back.
We are back. Facebook.
Love it.
Okay.
Okay, so, well, of course, we had a technical difficulty, but we rolled with the punches, right?
I did. It gave me time to do a few things.
Yeah, sure. You started a new business.
But I know
within that 3 seconds or whatever. Yeah.
All right, we'll go back into. I was at the Chinese.
Yes,
I
right.
sold it to
so
the Chinese.
you sold that business to the Chinese.
Right.
And then
while I was there, I met this real estate. I guess he was an entrepreneur.
Right.
He owns some businesses in East New York. He was buying in Williamsburg.
Right.
So they knocked down this building. They were building storefronts. These big storefronts still there, and some apartments. 5 apartments going across 5 stores. Like we.
All right. So. Okay. Technical. You know what? One thing I've gotten used to is the fact that there's always a technical difficulty, but we roll with it.
It's okay.
We're good. We're good.
I'm good.
Okay, man. It's a good thing I had enough turkey yesterday, mijo, because I gotta tell you, forget it. All right. So we left off in you sold your business to the Chinese.
Yes.
Well, to the Asian, and he was gonna do a Chinese restaurant
And a deli. Okay.
Okay, so while you're still in this business, prior to your selling it,
Right.
who did you meet? Tell me
I
about
met this real estate gentleman. I think he was either Polish, Russian. I mean, his name was Sally. Needless to say, what he was going to do was they knocked down a building. They leveled the building on Roebling Street, and they were going to build something there. So they were building stores, and so he would come every time he would come and inspect the job that was being done at that site.
Right.
I found out he was the owner. He would come in, and we would talk. And eventually, what he did was he saw how many people liked me in my deli. Teachers that would come in, and we just start kicking, and me, I like talking. So he asked me, would I be interested in renting that? So looking in retrospect, now that I'm a real estate broker, I mean, back then I don't know the laws exactly what they were, but you can't do that. Yet I did it, and not knowing that I was doing something you can't do now, which is take a commission, and you're not licensed to do real estate.
Right. But you know how that changes. It's very possible.
Yes.
It's very possible that you're
I'm not worried about
a career criminal.
No, I'm not. They're not going back. Come after me, wherever you are. Listen. But the point is, I rented those 5 apartments. I remember. I'm not even gonna say the amount, but I made some good money there.
Okay.
I mean, back then I think they were $2,000 the big apartments.
Okay.
So anyway, so I rented those 5. I sold the business. So while the Asian guy was having his business renovated, the whole place renovated, unfortunately they robbed him. Okay. So this is what happened when they robbed him. He calls me.
All right.
They robbed me. They took all my equipment. I said, all right. So I knew all the guys in the neighborhood that would probably be involved with that.
Okay.
So what happens? I end up finding who robbed them.
Okay.
right? So what I ended up doing was going to them and say, yo guys, you guys broke into the place.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, like,
right.
and I
Yeah.
said, but I'm a silent partner. And they say, oh, we didn't know that, you know? So I ended up going to the apartment where they had all the stolen property.
Really?
So yeah, I ended up going back to the
You did like do that, like you were.
because I grew up in that area.
Okay.
So man, I didn't know. Yeah, I want all my stuff back. So I went to the apartment. They had everything. So I told them, listen, as a gift, because you're giving it back. I gave them like 3 items. Listen, sell it, but I want everything back. So I got that back. That impressed the new owner that I sold it to. So he made me a silent partner. He really did.
He did. Oh, okay.
But I later found
So
out.
you made good.
I made good. I mean, he showed me that. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But-
So this is what. Yeah.
So he wanted me to report there every day, and he would give me a certain amount every month from his net. It didn't work out. He was involved in illegal stuff. I wanted to get out of there. Okay. So I got out of there.
Okay.
So I opened up a pizzeria later on.
Right.
Also there, Waterfront Pizzeria. When I opened up the Waterfront Pizzeria, I pretty much sold it quick. It wasn't working. I had maybe 4 or 5 employees there.
Okay.
It was, all I knew is, I remember I saying, man, I could do it. I could open it. But there's always.
That's what I'm saying, that daring, that's what an entrepreneur
It's
is.
a risk.
You take risk. That's an entrepreneur. You take risk. You're like, I think I can do that, and you do it. And then you're like, oh, I think I can improve this, and you just do it. And it's almost like going into the deep end without knowing how to swim, but figuring it out when you're there. And that's what I see in you. Is definitely in your trajectory of your life and how you've done things. So I want to go back a little bit because while you were in the deli, you met somebody, and I want to talk about that. And then we're gonna stop for a little commercial.
Who did I meet?
You met the real estate guy.
Oh, that's the guy,
one
Sally.
Okay. So now you got introduced to. Let's talk about that because that part is who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
But what you learned there was one part of real estate
yeah.
that was fascinating. And then later you start working with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about that.
Okay. Pizzeria, my father, what he did was he got hit. I mean, my father got hit to these lots in Williamsburg, empty lots that the homes that were condemned and the city would take down because they were condemned buildings or condemned. My father started buying some lots. And what we would do is buy them at auctions, and he would clean them out, and if they were between 2 buildings, put a fence, level it out, have the bulldozer come, level it out, and sell them. So my father did that a bit.
Okay.
And but I had no idea what I was going to do down in life.
Right.
But I saw the
potential.
yeah, that you can do that. You can make money. I mean, you can better yourself. Doesn't mean you're gonna be like a Trump,
Right.
I mean, nothing like it, but you can.
You have to understand, Trump wasn't Trump before he was Trump. I mean, he was just Trump.
I mean, and
So
all
let's
these
take that into
moguls. I
account.
mean,
Right.
you make money, you leverage money. I've learned so much, but I made a lot of. I hate to say mistakes, but they're lessons. I turn them into lessons.
Absolutely.
It's not doing the same thing over there because then now you're a fool at that point. So you learn from your mistakes, sort of, and you try to do better. You do better, and I mean, am I gonna get to the point where I want to? No, but you know what? I'm having fun.
But you don't know that. Why do you say no?
Well, I don't know, but I'm enjoying. I'm on the ride. I'm on the journey.
Okay, so that was what I spoke about this. Pretty sure you weren't listening, because that's what I was talking about this morning. It's all those little steps that we take towards our big dream. That journey, we need to enjoy that and we need to celebrate that. Because we have such a habit of not celebrating the little things because we keep waiting for, I haven't met my goal. Well, your goal is all those little things because nobody goes from 0 to 1,000. You still have to go through, all those other steps. So that's the process that you have to enjoy and celebrate. Wow, you know what? I'm not where I was. This is pretty cool.
I'll be honest. I celebrate even my flaws. I celebrate my mistakes because they have defined who I am today.
Absolutely.
If I didn't try it, I wouldn't know. You know, so I do believe that life is a journey, and more people are more apt. They're willing to celebrate their failures.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah.
they revel and they become dramatic in it. Versus, you
Like,
know,
I'll never do that again.
I would, yeah, and
Why?
I never say never.
Right.
Never say that. That's one thing I've learned. Like I said, I would never want to go into the food business again.
Right.
But I won't say never. I'll just say it's not my preference. It's not my choice.
Right.
But there's money. Everybody got to eat.
That's right. There we
You
go.
know,
And it's legal.
and it's legal.
And it's legal.
So,
Let's not forget that.
But
Right.
as far as and then
Okay, so can we stop here just
Yes.
for a few minutes for a quick commercial?
okay.
Okay, I want to remind people, as I did this morning, about Vera Moore. I met with Vera Moore yesterday. Vera Moore and I spoke yesterday, and she was telling me that she wanted to do for my listeners a special, and the special is anything on her site. You can buy as many things as you want. Everything is going to be 50% off. So if you go to her website, VeraMooreCosmetics.com, VeraMooreCosmetics.com. You go through whatever you want, get whatever you want. She's giving you a 50% discount, but you have to call. You have to call 516-367-6538. Again, 516-367-6538.
And that's Vera Moore.
Vera Moore. She's gonna come on. This woman, talk about entrepreneur. She started a business, just started a skincare business, and it has developed into a multi-million-dollar business. The woman is amazing, amazing. We're gonna have her on the show like early in
You got something for me,
the
Vera?
year.
You do?
Let's see, hair. So yeah, so again,
50% off.
50% off. Whatever you get, 50% off. Can't beat that, right? All right, so there we go. So okay, Manny, let's continue. So
After I saw the Deli Pizzeria, let me see. Nothing. I did my 20 years. I retired. Let me tell you, there's no such thing as retirement.
there you go.
Retire is when you expire.
There we
That's
go.
right. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
the truth.
But at 43, in 2005, I retired, and what I did was, in 2000, when I moved up north from the city, what I did was the experience that I had in real estate. It was a good one.
Okay.
It was a good one. It was interesting. I liked it. I got my license back in 2000. I worked for a Cold War banker. I worked for a few companies, great companies out there. What I eventually did was, I think it was in 2005, 2006. I think I got my associate's broker after I retired.
Okay.
And why did I do that? For me personally, and because I was still doing consulting, I did for 13 years. Even while I was on the job, for 13 years, I did the anti-doping for, believe it or not, for the USTA. 13 years, I would take 2 weeks of my time, and I would work the USTA, and I did good as a consultant there, and I was able to do what the USTA, all the players, you know. So I was always involved in so much. And so what I did was, I basically gave myself a raise, you know. Like, well, after, I mean, you know, great companies, nothing bad, but I learned from them.
Right.
And I didn't want to be under anybody. I have just as much same work ethics if I work under somebody else's license.
Absolutely.
You're still just as responsible as
But there is a difference.
Okay.
We talked about that.
Which was?
Which is that you get, you don't have to share your commission.
Right, but there are companies that work something like that in a year. If you make some sales, they have incentives where you can get all of it. The fact is, you're not getting 100% of everything. You're paying fees or whatever. I have my expenses as a broker, but I make, you know, I'm still governed under the ethics and
the
work.
laws.
Camera.
Okay.
But
Okay, so we're going to stop here for a quick second. Another little one of our technical technical difficulties, and, okay, we're gonna stop for 1 second to get that little situation fixed.
Cut.
No, I'm not gonna cut, we're gonna keep going with,
Hello, Facebook friends out there,
go
all
ahead,
my
Betty, keep
people.
talking, yep, you're still on, keep talking.
If you're watching, thank you. If you're not watching, obviously you don't know, you should be watching. You'll probably see it later. Okay, I'll be going on CNN, Fox News, and just kidding.
He's gonna be touring.
I'm going on a tour. I'm actually going to Jamaica, Queens. That's next week. No. I'll be shooting out to, actually this is true, I'll be shooting out to Las Vegas, probably another week for a few days. I'm doing work, consulting. But here I am at Dr. Nilder's at the Business Foresight. I'm with Dr. Nilder, and just a little bit of my background, and I enjoy what I do. I like being positive. Even when life tells me it's negative, I try to make it positive. I always said if I was a dog, I've been called a dog a few times, my tail would be wagging, so all the time. So for the most part, listen, this is a long technical problem, girl. Okay, so.
Yeah, I don't
I don't know.
know. If it can go wrong, it will go wrong, right? All right, we're gonna make it work. If that doesn't work.
Do I need to touch up makeup?
Makeup.
Makeup girl, what's makeup girl?
Makeup girl, bendito. No, we're good. We're good. We're moving right along. We're not dead yet, right? Ay, ay, ay.
Come on.
Okay. And so, we go again. All right.
Yeah,
And we continue. Yes. The other thing is that when you do, now when you go on your board, you have to that no, Dr. Perez, that you were listening, so you get 50%. So I call to give them my name. It won't be on the website. The 50% is not there. It is only for my listeners. Okay, so
all right.
Let's continue.
I forgot. Couple days. Well, anyway, Ken Broker, you must read. I'm gonna do, but I'm so it has been my total. It's something that I want to revamp this year coming in, and so there's some new things I haven't watched since 2011. Manny's realistic concepts. Consultant. What else? Musician.
Oh, music. Yes,
but it's not and this year coming. Willie, I'm gonna start putting stuff on YouTube. I love music. I watch music. The other day, we have something we're gonna be doing at the place. I'm gonna be doing something with
Who's gonna be in
I'm gonna be playing singing with Natasha.
Okay, what's the event? Is that Rosie's?
For the youth, the youth culture.
Okay.
Wash. We're gonna be making funds for this program. It's a good thing. She'll be on your
she's gonna be here in a little bit.
So anyway, so December 11th I'll be doing music. So I enjoy. I mean, I'm making the best of life. You know, making the best of worse sometimes.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm not a victim of life, and sometimes we are victims of life. Sometimes, but for the most part, bad decisions.
Exactly. But you know, it's because when we get hooked on that negativity, like, oh, this is bad, and I have to tell you, there is so much to be.
Start it again? Is it on it?
We're on it. Another technical. You know, good thing I have on because you roll punches. That makes it so easy for me.
Oh yeah, I'm getting beat up already.
Pretty bad. What would it seem? All right.
But I positive. You know.
Positive.
I had a friend call me today.
Yes.
She's not young. She's not young. I've known her since the age of 14. Okay. She called me today. She had an offender bender, but she's saying that she's forgetting things. And I told her, listen, snap out of that. Snap out of that. Come on. I mean, sometimes we're dramatic. We over dramatize life. Life. Listen, You know when all this stops? When you don't have issues or problems, that's when life is done. It's over.
Right.
Life is challenges. Sometimes they come out of nowhere. They're not our fault,
Right.
victims of circumstances. But for me, I can say for me, a lot of them is bad decisions.
Mhm.
Sometimes not learning from my past. But
Right.
I truly believe that you can really, we're more capable than we really know,
Right.
that we can elevate ourselves. And I always said, attitude determines altitude.
Absolutely.
I really believe that. I mean,
Absolutely.
I saw something at Pfizer in Texas a few weeks ago. 10 seconds to make an impression right now. I mean, everybody talks about it, make an impression, but
Right.
this is the real deal with that.
Mhm.
I think I talked to you about that.
Yeah, we did talk about this. Yes.
I meet somebody, I make an impression, 10 seconds. And now, I might be able to work with that person at some other point, we get the opportunity, but that impression is still embedded in that person or vice versa about them. I might be able to work with them, but however, sometimes you might never get the second chance. Because of that first impression, no one is going to deal with you. So it's so important. We are billboards. You know how they say fake it till you make it? Sometimes you have to do that in life. It's not you're being phony, but it depends on your business. You got a business, we are billboards.
Right.
I can say something. Move over there. No, I'm only kidding. See what I'm saying? Or I can tell you, hon, do me a favor. Would you move over there?
All right. This is.
So
this
powerful.
This is experiencing Manny.
Yeah, message and how you say things.
Right.
So powerful. And people
Right.
sometimes can read through you.
You know what I've learned? This is what I've learned in life, that you can be kind to anybody and you never know when they need it. That may be your one kind word may be exactly what they need, because they're just either having a bad time, having a bad day, and just a little bit of kindness. And that's what I said. I mentioned that this morning, that one thing my mom always taught us as we were little. She said a little sugar goes a long way.
Big way.
She's like, a little sugar, she says, is like salt and on food. Sometimes you don't need a lot, but if you don't have any, it's not gonna taste like anything.
Well, I just told you coming here, I went to brought coffee here.
Yes, you did. Thank you very much.
And there was a girl, and I had a young girl, and I told her, I'm gonna give you this change so you can give me back this amount of money.
Right.
So she still kind of foiled it.
Yeah.
So I felt bad for her. So what I did, she was young, I made it seem like I made the mistake. Not that but she knew she made the mistake. She was just embarrassed. After I said, oh my God, I'm sorry, I messed you up. She goes, yeah, you did. But she knows I didn't mess her up.
Right.
But I did it in a way where I didn't want her to embarrass her. But let me tell you, she's going to walk away from that saying, wow, I knew that was my mistake. And hopefully she'll get her math together. It was simple,
Yeah.
but I threw her off because she depended on the
Right,
on
on
the
that,
machine.
yeah, on the calculator.
Little bits
Yeah.
of kindness go such a long way,
It
and
does.
I've taken a few people. When you see someone with good skills, from Hannah County, if I go to Wendy's, for example, and I get to see the same person if I go there enough, and if there's a particular young person that has some nice skills and very cordial, and I know somebody's looking for a young student or somebody, a job, would you be interested in that? I've done that 3 times already, from different chain stores, because you never know who's watching you when you do work.
That's true.
And that's something
So
that
true.
I've had people, I did work for the marathon, the New York Marathon. I worked
did you?
Yes, I did security for 2 years at the Tavern on the Green when that was up, because at the end, that's where all the VIPs would go. And I remember because...
Why the VIPs? How about the people that ran? They're the ones that need it.
And what was interesting was that someone saw me, how I dealt with celebrities trying to sneak in with no VIP passes, that she put me in charge the following year because she saw how I was working. I didn't know who she was. She came to me. I love how you handle those situations. And I was in charge for next year. In fact, I was going to do work at the Boston Marathon. I didn't work. You never know who's watching. So whatever you do, I say, I mean, not to get, do it the best you can. Do it as if you're doing it to your Lord, whoever that is. I work as if I'm working the best. And, not always perfect, but strive for it because you never know who's watching. And that's what has gotten me different things in doing consulting. Because I started, give me this. And they said, nah, I could use here. And that's what happens. Giving it the best.
Right. And I've seen that in my business. I've seen that in so many different areas of life. So it's definitely my career. I always had that, that extra push or that extra because of one good thing, two good things that I did. You know what I'm saying? So that really took me a long way. And everything I did, my faith is very important. And so everything I do with that in mind. So I do want to do a job, but my responsibility is seriously my commitment to people, my word, if I do that I will. And if I really can't, I'll always come back with an explanation.
If it's good, they're willing to
Absolutely. They can forgive your mistakes. Even your mistakes can be forgiven. If you know your heart, so even if you make a mistake, it'll be forgiven because they're like, they know, like, this is a good person and she made a mistake. You know what? It's forgiven.
I mean, it's one of the common things that are used in the criminal justice system. You go to court and some guy who's driving DWI and they want to take, and the attorney comes and pleads, listen, this guy's has ties to the communities, he works with. So being good, doing right, trying to do for others, it's important because you never know when you need that. And you don't do it. For me, it's pretty natural but I've seen the results. Like, taste this, you're gonna love this. And I wasn't always the most friendliest guy. Being for most law enforcement that know, they got this guard, like,
I know.
hey, what's up, man?
I know.
Yo, lighten up, man.
I know.
What I tell people like that, with these
walls.
walls.
Law enforcement is a job. It's not a character. So you have to separate yourself from that.
Right, and it's not easy, but it's so important. I mean, you know how they say when, listen, if I gotta show you my guns, I'll show you my guns. But initially, I'm cool. I'm Papi Chulo. We good. We get along. And when I see something, now you playing me.
Right.
Then but for the most part, man, put on a happy face. Lighten up and live is what I say in life, and even with its drama sometimes. But sometimes we're the producers, the directors. In fact, we're the actors in life. We create drama, man. I'll tell you. I can't be around people that are dramatic. Chill. But for the most part, But anyway.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up here. Now we're waiting for we're gonna have Rosie Otero Walsh here real soon. We have Jorge I always have the problem. Barrett. Jorge Barrett. Yeah. Jorge Barrett. And Rosie Otero Walsh. So we're looking forward to that. We need a little break. I need to drink a little water. But before I drink water, I don't drink wine. A little water. If I drink a little wine, wait, I can't do this show. Okay, so I want to remind everybody about my giveaway. We have a contest. Don't forget about the contest. This is valued over $700. Over $600. You have a 1-hour strategy, business strategy consult with myself and with Rachel Perez, who is my marketing director. We're going to do a marketing strategy and we'll do a business strategy. This is really important. We're going to look at your business. We're going to analyze what is your potential for the future. We're going to look at different trends that are going on in your industry specifically, and then we're going to give you some ideas of what to do with that and also with your marketing strategy. So you're going to be walking away with a huge value that anybody with a business should take advantage of, because this is a really valuable thing. And this ends this conversation, but we're going to go on to a conversation with Rosia Taro Walsh and Jorge Borret. Okay?
Very good.
Talk to you soon, guys.
Thank
See
you.
in a
Love
little
you guys.
bit.
God bless you. Have a good weekend. Enjoy.
I want to thank you for being with us on Business Foresight, always creating strategies towards an extraordinary future. Remember, I'm here with you with strategies every Saturday. I'll see you next week.